Hey, welcome back. This is Rick Garza here once again to talk about the character and the habits and the life of a professional sales athlete. You know, many things affect the performance of a professional athlete. There's the mindset, there's the physical abilities, there's the preparation, there's their ability to handle changes in the environment. And the same thing holds true in the world of professional sales athletes. You know, sales is a contact sport, so a lot of things can happen to us mentally, physically, emotionally. And so the topic I'm going to be talking about today may sound a little different, may sound funny, but it's serious. And I call it, how do we deal with emotional constipation? And you may be laughing or you may be squinting your face saying, why are you talking about that? But let me just talk about from the natural perspective. I did a little bit of research, and in the industry of dealing with constipation amongst the human beings, it currently is a $17 billion industry as of 2017. And in the next 5 to 6 years is expected to grow to over $23 billion in order to deal with the effects of constipation within us. All you have to do is look at TV, look at all the commercials that stress the relief that comes with the medications that they recommend. And yet there are so many natural things we can do, such as drinking more water, taking more products that have fiber, eating less products that can cause our stomachs and our digestive system the inability to digest correctly. So what happens in the natural happens in the spiritual or in the emotional as well. You see, we can become emotionally constipated, and that's not fun. It can be painful. And you say, well, Rick, what causes that emotional constipation? Well, I'm glad you asked. I've lived through it and I understand the effects it has on me as an individual, but I've also understood what it means to be able to address it and deal with it. So give me a few minutes on being able to share with you the causes from what my experience tells me, and also what are the answers to deal with it, and what are the effects if you don't. So some of the causes of emotional constipation deals with, first of all, unforgiveness and bitterness. You know, sometimes being unforgiving leads to bitterness. When you get to bitterness, I kind of take it as, I heard someone say, bitterness or unforgiveness is like hoping someone else dies while you take the rat poison. In other words, you're holding on to these things inside of you because of how you feel about other people, and yet you're the one that's being affected, because there's a pretty good chance that that other individual doesn't even know that they caused you to be hurt, which generated this unforgiveness or bitterness, and you're the one that's holding on to it. There's 5 other things that I've talked about here in previous episodes that deal with us as salespeople and us in life, and I call it the FUDSA, F-U-D-S-A. There's the fear of the unknown. What happens if, and our body becomes emotionally constipated. There's the uncertainty, is I wonder if that's going to happen, or I don't know if that is going to happen to me, and how am I going to react? And then there's the doubts. I wonder if I can do what I've been tasked to do, right? And you add fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and soon you get to stress and anxiety. And not only do you become emotionally constipated to where you're frozen, you don't know what to do, you can't move through and get things accomplished, but also our body creates and secretes chemicals that can actually cause our digestive systems not to work properly. So what do you do with unforgiveness and bitterness and fear, uncertainty, doubt, stress, and anxiety, which as a human being, I confess I've dealt with those and I'm still dealing with them. But what I've learned is that you take the right prescription to deal with that. And step number 1 is to forgive. Forgive others, not expecting anything in return, but to forgive them, because you know they're probably human beings and they make mistakes much like we've made mistakes. And that in the forgiveness will allow bitterness to dissolve and allow your body and your mind to react more productively. The whole notion of fear, uncertainty, doubt, stress, and anxiety, what you're going to find is those things that you fear, you have uncertainty and doubt about, really 90% of the time are never going to happen. 5% of the time, they're not as bad as you think it's going to happen. And then the other 5% you just can't control, and you just have to give it all to God, do your best, and let God do the rest. So the bottom line is, I'm hoping the next time you watch TV, you'll think of this message of how to deal with emotional constipation, because it's all over the place. I want to challenge you today to forgive the way you would want to be forgiven, and to release that bitterness, and to deal with your fears and uncertainty and doubts by standing on the confidence of who you are and how God created you and what God created you to be and to do. And in so doing, your stress and anxieties begin to fade away, and you're able to release all of that emotions that is stopping you from being your best. Thank you for giving me an extra minute of your time as I shared with you the ways to deal with emotional constipation. And today is going to be the best day of the rest of our lives as we live it out as professional sales athletes. Have a great day. Bye-bye.